on this computer right now. I'm sorry I did not send you the recording, last time's recording, because I couldn't, have it ready because the internet quality is not that good. Maybe inshallah tomorrow at Yarmouk University, I will, upload it for you on YouTube, okay? And then you will have the second video. It's on my desktop, I mean, but it just could not download.
دكتورة تسمحي لي؟ دكتورة أنا والله هيك رحت شوي ورجعت، بس بتحكوا فكرة إيش اللي كنتي معرضيتها؟ ما سمعتها بصراحة.
The quiz, you mean? The quiz?
أنتوا كنتوا تحكوا على الكويز؟
Yeah, on Saturday we have a quiz, inshallah, and the quiz is going to include all the skills that we have taken, up to today. So today we're going to take also some skills. Maybe we're going to finish our skills up to 12, and then we're going to take, probably skill 1 and 2 in the reading. Those will be included as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And let's move on to where we stopped last time. I think last time we talked about which skill? Can you remind me?
Skill number 10, Doctora.
Okay. We took skill number 9 last time, right? Use noun clause connectors correctly. I just want to go back to it. Do you know why I want to go back to it a little bit? Because it's going to look like the next skill, only there's a difference. يعني رح يشبه شوي السكيل اللي بعده، لكن في فرق. يعني خلينا نقول اللي هو الفرق اللي هو هون في عندي، شايفين بعد وين؟ في عندي subject he. شايفين؟ السكيل الجاية في عندي clause، هي بسموها noun clause. هي شو اسمها قلنا عنها؟ noun clause. ليش سميناها أول شيء clause؟ إحنا سميناها clause لأنه كل clause لازم.
دكتورة معلش حطينا الشاشة.
دكتورة معلش تعمل
دكتورة الشاشة.
Oh أنا مش عاملة share. Oh, I am so sorry. Okay, I'm very
Oh.
sorry. I thought I was sharing with you. والله أنا عم بطلع بفكر عاملة share. I am so sorry. Okay, here we go. Are you there? You see it? The screen. Is it clear,
yes,
guys?
It's
Okay,
clear
amazing.
now.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very happy that it's clear for you all. All right, let me just enlarge this for you. And let's do, it's small right now, right? So I have to make it maybe a bit, here it is, enlarge. Okay, so this is the skill that we took last time. You see it, the skill, we talked about skill 9, use noun clause connectors correctly. First of all, I just want to remind you of what a clause is. Remember, what is a clause? We said a clause is, in Arabic, we call it shibh jumle. Why do we call it shibh jumle? Because it has the structure of a sentence. تركيبتها تركيبة الجملة. Okay, look at this. This is here. He will arrive. Looks like a sentence. We have he, subject, will, arrive. سوف يعني شو يعني arrive؟ يوصل. All right, arrive الوصول. سوف يوصل. All right. So, but we don't call it a sentence. Why don't we call it a sentence? Because look, before it there is when and other structures also. It's part of this. I know, and then we say when he will arrive. See, that's why we call it a clause, because it's part of something else over here. Okay, it's not disconnected from this. يعني مش مفصول عن هذا الجزء. على هيك حتى لو تركيبتها هون تشبه الجمل، ما بقول عنها sentence، بقول عنها ايش؟ clause. طبعا ليش سميناها noun clause؟ noun معناه اسم. احنا حكينا صح من ان noun it's اسم. all right. So شو يعني اسم؟ يعني موقعها موقع اسم. هاي الكلاوز، هاي المقصود فيها noun clause. يعني هي بتيجي موقعها هاي الكلاوز بموقع الأسماء. مرات أنا لما بقول بالإنجليزي I know، أنا بعرف، حتى تشبه العربي. okay, I know what? I know أحمد، I know علي، I know what? The room, I know the classroom, I know the university. We use what? nouns. بنستخدم دايما بعد I know مسميات. إذن هاي حلت محل noun، محل اسم. فهاي عشان هيك بقول عنها noun clause. It's a clause. أول شيء هي شبه جملة، لأنه لما إنسان يقول when he will arrive، عندما يوصل فلان مثلا، أوكي، هاي ليست بجملة. عندما شو يعني في إشي قبلها حتى يكمل معناها, right? Okay? So we know that this is a clause مع إنه فيها subject وفيها verb. Okay? ما بقول عنها sentence لأنه نشعر إنها هي تكملة لشيء آخر. Alright? Yeah. وليش سميناها noun clause؟ لأنه زي ما حكينا, as I said, it is followed after, it follows the verb know, and know is always followed by a noun. Okay? And this noun, هلا هذا الاسم, ما له هذا الاسم, هو عبارة عن object. شو يعني object? I know, مفعول به, علي. I know the university. I know when he will arrive. Are all, we call them objects. Okay? These are noun clauses. Okay? But they are as objects of this verb over here. No. ولو كان الفعل مش نو إشي تاني, it's the same. Okay? Okay. So let's move on to the second one. Okay? I am concerned about, I am concerned about, طلعوا هون preposition حرف جر, كمان حروف الجر دايما بيجي وراها أسماء. هون مش اسم صحيح اللي إجا, you know, a noun clause. It's the same noun clause. It came here this time. See, I am concerned, أنا قلقة, أنا قلق, you know, concerned معناها worried. Okay? About, حول إيش؟ شو قلقي؟ حول إيش؟ أي موضوع, أي شخص, you know. Not about Ahmed, not about Ali, not about my exam on Saturday. I'm not concerned about that, right? مش قلقة أنا أو قلقة حول امتحاني القادم إن شاء الله اللي جاي يوم السبت. No, I'm concerned about something. What is that something? When he will arrive. أنا عندي قلق حول موضوع متى فلان حيوصل. بجوز لأني ما راح أكون في البيت. Maybe I'm not going to be at home. That's why I'm saying something like this, right? يعني we do use these sentences, okay? All right. So, or maybe he will come or arrive at a time, you know, I have a lecture. عندي محاضرة بهذا الوقت. Or I am probably, you know, sleeping or busy or whatever, you know? Got the idea? So this is how this is used. يعني بالطريقة هاي الجملة بنستخدمها. طب شوفوا هاي. Again, هاي الناون كلاوز معناها بتيجي محل اسم. أصلا الفاعل بيجي هو يعني عبارة عن اسم. السبجكت هو اسم, right ولا لا؟ So هون استخدمنا الناون كلاوز محل السبجكت. When he will arrive, and then there's a verb, is not important, مش مهم. مرات بقول علي is not important. إن شاء الله علي دائما is important, but I just mean, you know, سبحان الله الاسم, it just pops, you know, and comes to our mind right away. All right, maybe because it's a name that is popular in books when teaching, you know, usually. All right, it's an easy 3-letter word. So anyway, let's say the book is not important. Sometimes we say that some books are not important, right? This book, for example, is not important. Don't read it, right? But sometimes we might have a noun clause, not just a straightforward, you know, small noun, you know. We might say something like this: when he will arrive, متى راح يوصل أو بالفترة اللي بده يوصل فيها. ماله هاي الفترة اللي بده يوصل فيها is not important, مش مهم. Do you know why? Because I'm not bringing him. There's a driver probably in the airport who's going to bring him. If I'm talking about someone who's going to, you know, let me say arrive at the airport, right? إذا عم بحكي عن شخص راح يوصل في المطار. طيب, why did I revise this? هذا الحكي حكيناه المرة الماضية, okay? And we talked about
Can I ask, please?
Yes.
This noun clause contain a subject and a verb.
Yes, it does.
Yes, but because it's preceded by when or about, we consider it as a noun clause. Is it right?
Yes, it's a noun clause because first of all, it came. We call it a noun clause because it came in the place of nouns. It's a clause, okay? Clause means what? It is not a sentence. Why is it not a sentence? Do you know why it's not a sentence? Because it did not begin with a subject, first of all. Look at it. It began with when. This is one reason. Another reason is that it finishes up this. Look over here. I know. It finishes it up, you know? It's part of it. So it can't be a sentence. What is part of something else can never be a sentence like this, you know? This can never be a sentence because it's part of I know. It completes I know. So how can it be a sentence? Got it? This can never be a sentence since it is something that completes this sentence I know. Got it?
Yes.
Yeah, got the idea? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. But I also want to say something. I brought this up for a reason, because now these noun clauses are just connectors. But now we're going to see something else, which is new. We discussed this last time. Do you know that? Do you know that we discussed this last time? Are you aware that we discussed this last time and we talked about it? يعني احنا المرة الماضية ناقشنا هذا الدرس، بس أنا في سبب رجعت له. في سبب. شو هو السبب؟ هلا بتشوفوا شو هو السبب. خليني, let me just, make this smaller in order to move, because like I said, I cannot move the, the pages. I can't go through the different pages if I do not make this smaller. So we said 9. Now we want to move on to 10. So we discussed these yesterday. We just want to take a look at 10 now. What's the difference now? Look at the difference. You're going to be surprised. Are you ready for the surprise? You love surprises? Okay. Noun clause, connector, but what? Subjects. Why subjects? Okay. Now we do not have the noun clause and the connector here, which is what here? Here it's who. Here it's whoever. It is itself the subject. What does that mean? It is itself the subject. That means, imagine the previous sentences. We had he. Remember he? It was here. We had he. Right here after the connector, right? What or who or whoever. Here we don't have it. This is called a noun clause, connector. This one. But it also is the subject. You want to go back again to show, so that I can show you? One more time, we're going to go back so you can see. We're going to make it small again so I can just show you the previous lesson. Look at the previous lesson. Look, when, but what do we have before the verb? He, you see? Got it? If you want to, you can write the sentence down on a piece of paper in front of you. All right? But here, look over here at the clause. Look at it. What is in the box? We don't have he or she or it. Okay?
Yes,
That's
we didn't
why,
have a subject. We don't have a subject here.
No, we do. The what itself is the subject and it's the connector. Okay?
Yes.
Okay? The what
yes.
and the who and the whoever, they are connectors and subjects at the same time. Okay? Because these can't be wrong. Let's read them and see what they mean. Let's just, I'm sorry that, these things are getting a little complicated, but that's why I say that we should understand the meaning of them. Because if we understand the meaning, things will be even a lot easier through understanding meaning of, sentences, because it's really not that different here in terms of meaning. It does not differ a lot from Arabic. Look at this. Use noun clause connector. This is the noun clause connector. And it is also the subject of its own, of this sentence, or of this clause, sorry, not sentence, clause. It is also the subject of the clause. شبه الجملة. ليه شبه جملة؟ لأنه it's part of this too. That's why, remember? That's why we call it a clause. We can't call it a sentence because it's not standing on its own. Only a sentence stands on its own. Where is the sentence? All of this is the sentence. All of it. And this too, all of it is a sentence. But the sentence here has two subjects, two subjects, we and who. It has two verbs, are, concern, and will do. It has more than one subject, too. I and what? This is a subject. And it's a connector at the same time. It has don't know. Do not know means don't know. And it has is. All right? Where's the subject here? Whoever. All right? Where's the second subject? This is the second subject, all of it, right? Got it? Because why? Because all this clause here is the subject anyway of this verb must bring, right? A gift. A gift here is what? An object, okay? I hope you understand what I'm saying, okay? So all I'm saying is that we saw that noun clause connectors were used to introduce subject clauses. They are used to introduce subject clauses or noun object clause, all right? In skill 10, this new skill, what are we going to do? We will see that in some cases, في بعض الحالات, what? A noun clause What is a noun clause? This is a noun clause. This, what is in the box? Why is it a noun clause? Because it comes in the place of a noun. When you say, I don't know what? A noun. We want a noun here. So this is what? This is a noun, but it's a clause at the same time, okay? All right. So this clause functions as a noun. So we will see that in some cases, a noun clause connector is not just a connector. A noun clause connector can also be the subject. So here, the connector of this clause is also the subject, okay? I will show you why it's a subject also. Look at this, guys. I do not know what is in the box. I do not know. أنا لا أعرف ما في الكرتونة مثلا box. All right? That's what it means. I do not know what is in the box. In Arabic, that's what it means. So I is the subject, don't know. This is my verb. In English, when I want to negate a main verb, لما بدي أنفي فعل تام زي know, write, read, طريقة النفي don't or طبعا doesn't بناء على السبجكت. افرضوا إنه هذا الفعل كان مش know. Drink. I don't drink. Okay? Maybe it could be something like write. I don't write. Okay? So this is how we negate these verbs. What if the verb, I want to ask, what if the verb was M, helping verb? How do we negate it? كيف ننفي؟ لو كان الفعل هون مش فعل تام no. لو كان
لو سمحتي دكتورة بس كأنه المادة راحت، احنا مو شايفين المادة.
لا موجودة المادة.
معناته في عندك شوي weakness in the internet. There's the quality of the internet is not so good. That's why. Because if it does disappear, that's why. Okay?
Sorry.
It's okay, no problem. I just hope it works out for you. Okay? So this is the thing that I want you to think about. What if I have I am here? We don't want to talk about the rest, but I am, we say I am not. So with helping
I'm not.
Yeah, with helping verb, that's how we negate. But with main verbs like this, I don't know. Okay? What if we have she? What if this sentence began with not I, she? Let's negate it. She, not don't know. She what?
She doesn't know.
Good job. This
Doesn't
is how we
know.
negate, yes, when the subject is she. Anyway, I don't know, so this is the verb. Now here, the noun, because it should be an object. So here, this clause is the object. It looks alike the previous, lesson, okay? The only difference is that the structure here, does not contain a separate subject, okay? So the connector itself is the subject. I don't know what is in the box. لا أعرف ما في is means في in the box, right? Like something like that. What is يعني الواقع الموجود الوضع يعني دايما الverb to be عن الوضع بتعبر, all right? We are concerned. نحن what? This is the verb. Are concerned. قلقين. We are concerned. This is what? An adjective, right? We are concerned. This is the verb are. Because the verb to be could be followed by a noun or by an adjective. We are concerned. نحن قلقين. About. حول إيش? Because about is followed by a noun. But here the noun is not a one-word noun. It's a
clause.
What? It's a noun clause. And this noun clause, the connector itself is the subject. Okay? So we are concerned about who will do the work. نحن قلقين حول مين هو الشخص who اللي حيقوم بالعمل. Yes, we are always concerned about who will do the work. Do you know why? Because if it's somebody trustworthy, إذا كان إنسان ثقة, he will do the work what? Or she will do the work efficiently, right? In a good way. That's what it means, efficiently, right? Yeah. But if that person, is, a person who's like some kind of a joker, unfortunately, the work will not be even probably done, right? At all, right? So this is why we say noun clause, what as an object of the preposition. The preposition is about here, okay? So I think it's not hard, guys. Just, enjoy, all right? Whoever is coming, يعني مهما كان الشخص اللي بده يجي لأنه whoever
ممكن
مهما
سؤال
كان الشخص يعني it means whoever مين زي كيف لما نحكي بالعامي مين ما كان حيجي يعني all right whoever مين ما كان all right whoever is coming يعني هاي ممكن نحكيها okay لا مثلا ممكن رئيس قسم جديد جاينا مثلا رئيس جامعة جاينا تفرق كثير معانا، احنا بنعمل شغلنا وماشيين دغري. Why would we care? So whoever is coming, for example, it's okay, no problem about that, right? But let's see what the sentence here is about, okay? Whoever is coming to the party. مين مكان بده يجي على هالحفل. This is the subject, right? And what about the subject? It's also a noun clause. The subject is not a one-word thing. It's and we use these sentences. بنستخدمهم هذول الجمل كل يوم in English, in Arabic, right? Yeah. So whoever is coming, يعني مين مكان بده يجي على الحفل is coming. This is the verb, present continuous. To the party. Now, this subject, all of it, sorry, this clause, all of it is the subject, right? ما لها هاي. So بدل ما
must bring
just saying, not instead of a noun, must bring. لازم يجيب معاه، لازم يحضر. Must لازم معناها must, okay? وmust زي كان، مرة حكينا عن كان، هدول المودلز بسميهم، هدول الأفعال بسميهم أفعال المودلز, okay? Must, can, shall، ماضيهم كمان زي should, all right? Have to, all right? What else do we have? Will. لهم معاني مختلفة لكن يعني قواعديا يستخدموا بنفس الطريقة. دائما وراهم الفعل بيكون مجرد. must bring, can bring, will bring, okay? هذول بنسميهم أفعال الماضي, all right? Must is followed by bring over here. It could be طبعا ممكن نستخدم أي فعل بدنا إياه بس هم مستخدمين bring. So تخيلوا ممكن نقول whoever is coming to the party must drink. Hello everyone. Hello again.
Hello.
Okay, I'm sorry guys. I think I got disconnected.
Again,
sorry, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
I probably got disconnected. يعني ممكن إنه صار في يعني disconnection. I'm sorry. Let me welcome you guys all back and go back to where we were. Admit all.
دكتورة
What?
دكتورة صوتك بالأخير كان يقطع فشكله النت
what can I do? I live.
الأخير صار يقطع شكله النت عندك ضعيف.
You know what? I live in Mazar.
حتى الزوم مش ملحق عليكي ما شاء
Can you
الله.
imagine? I live in a village called Mazar. Do you know Mazar? Have you ever heard of a village called Mazar?
Yes, we know it.
But it's not the Mazar that is in the south of Jordan. I'm talking about the one that's in the north of Jordan, the one nearby. So, you know, probably the quality of the internet in my area is not that good. And then everybody's watching the football games right now. Is there a football game right now?
Yeah, it is.
That's why. Yeah, probably this is the reason. Okay.
Tunis and France.
Between Tunisia and France, who's winning?
Tunis. Both of them.
Both of them are winning. We want Tunisia to win, don't we? Whose side are we on?
I think it's dual now.
Huh? I mean, like, whose side are we on? Do you know? Do you know whose side we're on?
With Tunisia side.
Okay. All right. Okay, let me just try to share with you, you know, my screen. Hopefully, you know, we will be back together on, you know, to do some work. Where have we disappeared? Let me see. Okay. Back to sharing my screen. Here we go. Okay, hopefully things will be clear right now. Okay, do you see the screen? Oh my gosh, are we gonna do this every second now? Okay, Bismillah. Let's just see. Is it really bad, the quality of the internet?
Yes,
Can you hear me? Can you hear me speaking? Okay. All right, let's go back to our.
Sometimes your voice is interrupted.
Okay. I'm sorry about that, but you know, if something goes wrong, we have to agree on something from now. I'm going to try to my best, you know, to give you these sessions live. But if something happens, okay, let me say like, you know, the internet quality is bad or something, I will still continue to teach and record, okay? And you will have it recorded. If something happens, we're going to be, you know, on Zoom together. But since I'm recording anyway, the recording is done, okay? Anyway, it's going to be, you know, we're at work, let me say. All right, just in case. I'm just going to be recording anyway. And if something goes wrong, you know, you'll still be getting these lessons, okay, and sessions, inshallah. Anyway, let's take a look at the last sentence again, the one that we were talking about. Whoever is coming to the party, whoever is coming to the party, huh? Are you with me, all of you? This is the subject of my sentence. Whoever, you know, whoever is coming to the party must bring a gift. This is the verb.
دكتورة أنت تسمعيني؟
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yes. دكتورة صح المحاضرة الماضية لما كنا نحط مثل هيك أدوات ربط ويكون الفاعل مش موجود نحكي إنه missing subject. طيب كيف إحنا بدنا نميز إنه إحنا هلأ عم نحكي عن محاضرة اليوم ولا عن محاضرة امبارح؟
I don't understand what you're saying. This over here is the subject, which is
Yes. طب أنا كيف بدي أحدد
متى
over
بتكون
here,
أداة الربط هي
محل السبجكت؟
Wait a minute. Here,
yes.
The connectors are whoever, who, and what, and what. What was the connector over there? Mainly
يعني بس
not the same ones, not the same ones, okay?
وهو.
Listen, I want to tell you something.
Okay.
I want to tell you something. It's true, it's that, but this is not the only reason. The reason is that, you know, you can tell that, you know, that this is correct or not, because when you read it, it has meaning, okay? I don't know what is in the box. This is meaningful, okay? That's why you can tell. You don't have to memorize, okay? There are some cases where we need the connector as the subject only, and there are some cases when we speak, you know, it depends on what you want to say, that the connector, is going to be the same thing, the subject and the connector, okay? If I say something like, I do not know what, and then it is in the box, will this work? But if I say, I don't know what he did, there is what, which is a connector. And at the same time, because I want to talk about, you know, someone, all right, in this way. So it depends on what I want to say, okay? It depends on what I want to say. So if I want to, you know, focus on some special person, you know.
أنا هاد سؤالي لأنه مثلاً
you don't have to memorize. You just have to understand the sentences. Listen to me. You just have to understand the sentences, okay?
Yes.
And what I am saying is that sometimes there are sentences where the connector, is the subject, and sometimes the connector is not the subject, okay? So here, the connector, in this case, the connector is also the subject, okay? Because look at it, it has meaning. It is a subject. Look, I don't know what is in the box. So this, what is in the box, is the subject of this clause, okay? And it has meaning, you know, it's used in English. So over here, they're just telling you that sometimes, you know, sentences in English, you know, the connector is the subject itself. And in some sentences, sometimes, you know, the connector is separated from the subject, okay? The subject is another word, like a pronoun, usually a pronoun, honestly, or a noun, okay? Yeah. So you just must understand these sentences. These, you know, with time, I know that when you repeat, you know, you will understand. You want to memorize. It's not about memorizing. It's about understanding the sentences themselves. Okay? Dr. Noura, you have your hand up. Do you want to say something? Do you want to add?
دكتورة هو يعني زي ما أنت حكيتي بيعتمد على معنى الجملة لأنه مثلا في بعض أدوات الربط مشتركة مثل what يعني امبارح استخدمناها وكنا نقول بالإكسرسايز لما يكون missing مثلا subject معناته في incorrect فهون المفروض إن نفهم معنى الجملة بس هيك صح؟
Exactly, because I might say something like, I want to know what you are doing, and I want to know what is in the room, maybe, okay? So I don't need you in it now because I'm talking about the room. The what is the subject itself, okay? Yeah. So just understand these sentences and remember that sometimes when you read a sentence, you accept it just because the connector itself is not a separate connector. It itself is the subject, okay? So what I would do if I were you is try to understand these sentences and, let me say, try to connect to them, and that's all, okay? Let's see what the explanation is here. It's the same as my explanation, but sometimes it's good to read what the book has, all right? Also, in the first example, this one, I do not know what is in the box. And I'm telling you, yes, the structure does get more complicated, okay? And the only way to understand it more is also you do some reading, do some, of your own work sometimes, I want to tell you something. If all day I speak and you don't also, include yourself and read and try to understand, you're going to have a problem. You're still going to have a problem. You know that? Yeah. So you should double, the time of work that you do. Okay. In relation to the TOEFL. In the first example, there are two clauses. Okay. We said this. I don't know is a clause. It's not a sentence. We agreed that it is not a sentence. Do you know why? Because this over here is its completion. And together, they form a sentence together, not this by itself and not this by itself, okay? So in the first example, there are two clauses. I do not know. See, I don't know is a clause because we said, how do we, decide that this is a clause? We decide because there's a subject and there's a verb. And what is in the box is another clause. Why do I call this another clause? Simply because there should be a subject and a verb. And what here is considered a subject, although it's also a connector, okay? And the verb is, okay? Like what over here is just like it, just to explain to you. It's what and it's it at the same time. I hope this kind of sinks in, okay? What can be in the box? It, something, okay? I don't know what is in the box. Like it's as if you are saying the thing in the box, which is in the box. The thing which, it's something like that. That's what means, okay? What means the thing that is in the box, okay? I hope, you can write this note and maybe you can think about it, okay? So here, guys, the noun clause, the noun clause, all of it, this is called a noun clause. What about it? It is the object of the verb. Which verb? This one, don't know. No, basically, okay? But in the negative, okay? It's the object of it, okay? We are concerned about who will do the work. Let's see what it says here. These two clauses are joined by the connector what, okay? So what is a connector? But at the same time, it is important to understand that in this sentence, the word what serves two functions. Two functions, يعني what? هدفين, two goals. It is both the subject of the verb, and at the same time, it is the connector that joins the two clauses, okay? This is what the book says. I'm not going to be better than the book now. I just want to make things easier for you and sink in some more, all right? So the specialist wrote this book, all right? Like I said, I don't know what is in the box means I don't know the thing, that. So it's the thing and that together. So what here functions as the thing, which is a noun, and that at the same time, okay? As if it's a connector and at the same time, it's the pronoun, okay? I hope that this is understood. Did I make it clear to you? Just to make you understand what means here. Don't say no. You have to say yes, that you understood what I said. Okay? And if you did not, go home. Go home. I know you're at home. I mean, like on your own.
Of course, yes.
On your own, and repeat it several times and try to think about it. These matters that are difficult, I think that it would be a good idea that sometimes, try to read slowly and try to comprehend, all right? In the second example, honestly speaking, I'm not going to lie to you. This is one of the most difficult things that students have a hard time in, just to let you know. This lesson in particular, okay? So I'm not going to lie to you. It is difficult on so many students, so nothing is wrong with you if you find a problem, okay? But you can understand it. It's something that you could understand. It's not like something impossible, all right? Then why is it here? And, so many people understand it, all right? So in the second example, this one over here, we are concerned about who will do the work. Look again. There are also two clauses. This one, we are concerned. And this one, of course, that is after what? about, because we said after about we might have clauses, not just about, any preposition, right? أي حرف جر ممكن يجي وراه a clause instead of a regular noun. In the first clause, this one over here, we is the subject of are. We know this is clear. We is the subject of are, the verb, right? In the second clause, this one, who is the subject of will do. So who is what? The subject of will do. At the same time, it is what? Let's see what they say about it. And it also functions, the noun clause, etc., functions as the object of the preposition about. And it functions also as what we said, the object of about. So this noun clause is an object of the preposition over here. I think that's all. And at the same time, they also say that it serves as a connector. I missed this part, right? Who also serves as the connector that joins the two clauses. So this too, who is a connector between this clause and this clause. Okay? In the last example, this one, which is really the most difficult for so many people, for so many students, it's the most difficult. Let me admit. There are also two clauses. أيضاً في عندي two clauses. This one, who knows what the second one is? And this one, all of it, okay? All of it is the clause. So, يعني, as they say, one embedded in the other. واحدة هاي clause هي الأصغر داخل الأكبر هاي. Okay? So الأصغر هاي عبارة عن جزء من الكلاوز الرئيسية هاي كلها مع بعض. Okay? So what do we want to say here? There are also two clauses. Whoever is the subject of the verb, it's the subject of the verb what? Is coming, this one, So whoever, it's the subject and of what is coming, the verb. All right? And the noun clause, whoever is coming to the party, كلها هاي, whoever is coming to the party, this noun clause, what is it? Is the subject of must bring. هي عبارة عن كلها هاي subject لا must bring. Okay? All right. The word whoever serves two functions. هاي الكلمة whoever إلها دورين تشتغل وظيفتين. Functions يعني وظيفتين in the sentence. It is the subject of the verb is coming. هي عبارة عن subject لهذا الفعل طبعا is coming. And it is the connector. وهي جاية connector. صح ولا مش هي connector? Whoever, احنا قلنا هدول كلهم who, whoever, what. Connectors at the same time they are subjects. And so يعني we say this but we want to show it also in sentences. Okay? And it is the subject of the verb what is coming. And it is the connector that joins the two clauses. وهي كمان connector تربط بين clause هاي والclause كلها هاي. All right? Which it is like the subject of it. All right? Okay, so the following example, shows how this sentence pattern could be tested. Remember, as we said, يعني هو بالآخر هذا كله ناخده ليه؟ لأنه راح نمتحنكم بشيء بيشبهه. It's a pattern. Remember, language and the sentences in our languages, they're a pattern, really. Okay? يعني why does a little kid say certain things? Because he heard them. He heard them from speakers. Sometimes he might not capture the whole sentence, like a word. Later on, children, what do they capture? Phrases. بعدين بمسكوا عبارات. كلمتين. بعدين, أكبر جملة ممكن. All right? And then, listen. And then later on in life, they become creative. بعدين بصيروا خلاقين. They make their own, unique sentences, right? Yeah. And this is what I want you to think about when you study TOEFL. That you're not going to be, perfect in the way that you want, just because you took this lecture, this Zoom lecture, all right? Or just because you did a one-time reading. You have to every day decide that every day I want to read, let me say 3-4 pages. I don't know how many you want to study. And I want to make sure that I'm going to gobble them up, like really understand them as much as I can. Okay? I hope that, you think about this and you make sure that you're doing something like that. على كل حال, let's go to this example. نروح على المثال. What do you think goes here? Based on what we have been talking. بناء على اللي كنا عم نحكيه. Yes, Dr. Ghait, would you like to help us out here?
Yes, please. Some ads on the television made me angry. I think the best answer is what was on television made me angry.
Thank you for your answer.
Because we need connector. We need connector because we have two verbs.
Good job.
I mean, two sentences or two clauses.
Good job.
We have to choose And for the meaning, when cannot help us here in the meaning.
Exactly.
So
Thank
the
you
best
so much.
answer what?
Excellent job. Very good. Good job. Good explanation. Yes, it's true. 100%. We have two verbs. Look, we have this was for on television, and we have made me cry. We have two verbs. All right. And listen, I don't see any subject anyway, because this noun here belongs to on. You remember a preposition is followed by a noun. So where is this thing's subject? It's going to be somewhere here, the subject then. Okay. And I don't see any nouns but this noun, and this noun is the noun of an object of the preposition on. Okay, so it's not suitable. So the only thing that will work is when or what I mean, sorry, what. Okay, because we're not talking about time. Okay, what, why, what? Because listen, what يعني مقصود بwhat guys الشيء اللي كان موجود, what was on television. What? الشيء. It means, okay, the thing. يعني what means the thing really. Okay, what does what mean? The thing. Okay, it means also the thing that. Can you imagine what it means? What? The thing that. يعني هي جاي كمعنى معناها subject, the thing الشيء, وكمان معناها at the same time that اللي هو معناه الذي. all right, so the thing that was on TV يعني الشيء الخبر ممكن يكون يعني الذي كان على التلفاز ماله made me angry, خلاني أغضب أزعل. Maybe we heard some kind of bad news story, or a news story that was probably triggering Arabs, in a mean way, in a hurtful way, that maybe Arabs are racist or Arabs are terrorists, So we wouldn't like to hear such stories يعني. Okay, yes, it happens that sometimes we watch the news. أحيانا نحضر الأخبار وبنقول عبارة زي هيك. What? طبعا ما بنقدر نقول it was on television. Okay, why can't we say it was on television? لأن أنا بدي connector يربط بين هاي وهاي, وإت ما بتزبط connector. What are the story? الناونز ما بزبطوا connectors, صح ولا لا؟ فبدي أنا شيء يكون connector يربط بين ال two clauses, هاي clause وهاي clause باعتبار. Okay, و at the same time يكون subject. طب شو هو الشيء اللي بزبط يكون connector و subject من هذول؟ زي ما قال زميلكم, he said يا what يا when. لكن على المعنى نروح على when was on television. when الزمن. Okay, made me cry. when was on television. No, احنا بدنا نقول what معناها الشيء, لأنه when معناها الزمان الذي كان على التلفاز, وطبعا مش معناها الزمان. all right, so it's what was on television. That's why we don't choose this. Okay, it's not a connector and a subject. It does not even give the meaning at the same time. All right, so what was on television معناه الشيء الذي. all right, and it's a connector and it's a subject at the same time. It works, it does that function. Okay, so what was on television عبارة عن clause. And what kind of clause? This clause is called a noun clause, but the noun clause itself is the subject. Okay, and the connector is also a noun. Okay, at the same time, and it's the subject of this big sentence, and it's the subject of this clause over here, which is what was on television. Okay, so it's the subject of this clause, and at the same time it's the subject of the big sentence over here, which has the verb made. Okay, made me cry, made me not cry here angry. Okay, let's see what the explanation. In this example, you should notice immediately. لازم مباشرة نلاحظ. Immediately means فورا. Notice نلاحظ. Should لازم. All right, that there are two verbs. في عندي, as your classmate just said, or our great participant Dr. Ghait said, was and made. All right, there are two verbs, was and made, and each of those verbs مالهم need what they. Why we say the verbs طبعا لازم يدون s guys. The verbs need لأنه في verbs, ما بصير نقول عن verbs needs. Okay, but we can say each verb needs. Okay, فهم هون غلطانين. المفروض إنه ما يكون في عندي verbs وفي عندي s. Okay, yeah, so they make mistakes in the TOEFL book, unfortunately. Okay, so or you can just say each needs. I'm sorry, each needs. Okay, yeah, in this case, okay, tamam, since they're saying each needs, I'm sorry about this one. There's no mistake. Okay, I'm the one who made the mistake. I just forgot that each needs. Okay, a subject. Answer A, and B are incorrect. Why A and B are incorrect? Listen, because it and the story cannot be the subject for both was and made. They can. We never have, you know, something like this as the subject of this clause and that clause. Okay, it doesn't work like that. For two clauses, we don't have these, you know, nouns and pronouns. We said that there are specific words that work to be, you know, the let me say subjects of two clauses, right? Not any, just not just any. You will see them in a table in a few minutes. Okay. Now answer D. Okay, what about answer D? Is incorrect because when is not a subject. All right. In answer C, what serves as both the subject of the verb was and the connector that joins the two clauses together. The noun clause, what was on TV, is the subject of the verb made, me, or made just by itself. Okay, answer C is therefore the best answer. And I even gave you guys a better explanation, or one that is, you know, even deeper. When I told you that what was on TV, it means the thing that. Okay, that's what it really means, honestly. Okay, I hope that was clear for you. And we need to move to the new page, but like I said before, I cannot move to the new page without
Please, can I?
Yes, do you have a question?
Yes, if there is no was, could we say the story on television made me angry?
The story on, of course.
If there is no
Yes, yes, you can. Yes, you can, 100%. Because in that way, you just have a regular sentence with only one clause. Correct? Of course you can. Amazing, Dr. Who's speaking? Dr. Ruba?
Ruba, yes.
Yes, that would be correct, 100%. Thank you for saying that. That is also another way. But remember, because our lesson is about connecting, you know, two clauses with each other in different ways. We're talking about complicated matters. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. All right. I hope that's clear.
Yes.
So it's not wrong. It's correct. However, you know, we want to focus on, you know, sometimes sentences that have these, you know, cases where there are different, you know, more where there's more than one clause. So let's take a look at the chart, the following chart or the following table. We used the word table last time, right? So we can say either this or that. List the noun clause connector subject. So these connectors work as connectors and also at the same time as subjects, okay, of clauses. These are fit to be used, not anything, see what you can use? These. Who, whoever, what, whatever, which, whichever. Not everything is acceptable. Just these. They function. So if you see these, think about them. They are both connectors and at the same time, they are what? They are subjects of clauses. Okay? Only clauses. You cannot say sentences. Do you know why? Because simply, who, what, which are beginnings, you know, and we don't begin regular sentences with which, what, and who. They're not, unless they're questions that we're talking about. Which color do you like? What color do you, right? So what he said, this is the clause. الشيء الذي قاله. This is a clause. I want to, you know, finish up the sentence. بدي أكمل هالجملة بشيء آخر. الشيء الذي قاله ماله. What he said was impolite, was clever. We say things like that, right? What he said. Okay? So these are things that are used, you know, sometimes, you know, I don't know if I'm not going to say on a daily basis, مش رح أقول كل يوم, but they're used, you know, in our speeches, in our sentences, in our language, you know. So anyway, like I said, who, whoever, who, the شخص, whoever, يعني مين مكان الشخص, هيك يعني لما نقول whoever. What, تنحكى لا, what guys, الشيء, الأشياء, all right. Whatever, يعني باعتبار الأشياء شو ما كانت هاي الأشياء اللي عم نحكي عنها. That's what it means really. And let me just admit the participants, because I don't know, they have asked me to admit them. Okay, I just hope that this works. Okay, and which guys, which هون للانتقاء guys, all right, which, because which means that you are choosing, making a choice. Okay, and whichever أي شيء يعني تم اختياره أو في مجال الاختيار منه أي شيء من هالأشياء اللي ممكن نختارها. That's really what it means, okay? So let's take a look at this sentence over here in the chart. I know what happened. Well, this is a very short, sentence that has two clauses, honestly speaking. And, yeah, we use this sentence all the time. Don't you? We use this sentence. I know what happened. بعرف إيش اللي صار. ما هو الشيء الذي صار الذي حدث. We use this sentence. So I know this is a clause. Why is it a clause? Because when I say I know, we want a noun after it, right? We want an object after it. I know what, okay? And this object that I have decided to use sometimes could be one word, and it could be a clause. Here it's a clause. And the clause that I have used, that I've decided to use, is a noun clause, where the connector itself is the subject, okay? I know what happened. How do I know? Because there isn't another, noun after the connector. And it's meaningful. I know what happened. بعرف الذي صار الذي حدث. Okay, so what is a connector, and at the same time يعني الذي هون الشيء الذي باعتبار, right? What happened الشيء الذي حدث. So what could be translated into a شيء like a noun, and الذي as a connector, and then happened is the verb in the past. Okay, let's take a look at this second example over here where we have the let me say the clause at the beginning. We say these sentences all the time. What happened? الشيء اللي صار. What happened? مش what happened كسؤال شو صار. So because we say sometimes, what happened? What's wrong with you? What happened? As a question, right? We can say something like that, by the way. But this is not a question. How do I know? Because look at it. There's a period at the end. And then there's something after what happened, okay? What happened, مقصود فيه هون, what أداة ربط, guys. And at the same time, it's the subject, وهي اسم هون, all right? والشيء اللي ببدأ فيه جملتي وليست سؤال, okay? مش what بمعنى ماذا, okay? So what happened, مقصود فيها الشيء الذي حصل, ماله؟ الشيء الذي حصل. Okay, what happened? Oh, was great. كان رائع. Great means رائع, like was excellent, was amazing, all right? Was something satisfying. Satisfying شيء يعني مرضي, all right? Something like that. So I hope that, things are getting better for all of you, okay? I cannot, let me say, get this to work by myself. You also have to help me out here, okay? How about we take a look at exercise 10? Come on, guys, we have lots of work to do today. I'm not going to leave you today without finishing the tasks that I told you I was going to, give you today. Exercise 10. Yes, Dr. Ghait, would you like to do that exercise for us? One of them. Choose anyone from 1 to 10. Let's take a look and see from 1 to 10 what we have here.
And number 3.
All right, go ahead.
The employee was unhappy about what was added to his job description. The employee was unhappy about what was added to. I think it's correct answer. Correct, yes, answer. The first sentence or first clause, the employee was unhappy. And what was added is the object clause, we can say, for the first sentence.
Good job.
Yeah, and here there is, and there is no subject.
You mean, Dr. Ghait, to say that the object of the preposition here, the object of the preposition, because you know what follows the preposition, we call it object of preposition. The object of the preposition about, يعني الاسم اللي تبع تبع يعني followed، أنا مقصود فيه يعني إجا وراه about، أوكي اللي بدنا اسم إحنا جاي هون مش اسم يعني صحيح كلمة واحدة. It's a clause, as you can see here it is, right? And this clause ما لها هاي clause. It's, as we have discussed, it is a clause that has, a connector. Let me say.
Noun.
Yes. The connector itself is the noun at the same time. So it's a clause, and this clause is called a noun clause. اسمها هاي الكلاوز بيسموها noun clause. ليش noun clause؟ لأنه أصلاً بعد about بعد الprepositions بيجي nouns, right? أسماء. All right. So لكن هون مش اسم كلمة واحدة صحيح. No, a noun clause اللي إجا, right? And this noun clause, The connector itself is the subject, right? What was added يعني الشيء الذي أضيف added يعني أضيف to his job description لعمله. يعني مرات إحنا
الوصف
أعمالنا.
الوظيفي.
Okay, yes, exactly. Our jobs, يعني when I began teaching at Yarmouk, I was supposed to just teach my lectures. And many of you, I think, this, probably face the same situation. You were supposed to just teach your lectures, right? Now you have to teach your lectures. You have to write research. You have to listen. You have to do work inside the university, outside the university. Lots of things have changed, at all universities. And listen, not only at universities, I think at all job places, right? You know what this is called? Our job description, has changed. So many things have been added, and we're not getting more money, right? What do you think? So the sentence, generally speaking, I'm going to agree with Dr. Ghaith, is 100% correct. The employee is the subject of the sentence. The major subject, here, the employee was unhappy. This is an adjective, and was is the verb, and of course after it was is unhappy, and it's just a regular sentence. But the thing is that after about, we want to explain, not just the employee. If we said the employee was happy, amazing sentence, simple, good sentence, تمام، الجملة سليمة. بس we added about. بدنا نحكي زعلان عن شو، على شو. He's unhappy، مش مبسوط. طبعا ليه؟ شو السبب؟ about حول هذا الموضوع هذا. شو هو about؟ مش about his job وخلصنا. No. حكينا تفاصيل عن العمل تاعه اللي مش معجبه. Which is, we used a noun clause to explain. He is unhappy. مرات بنعملها هاي الشغلة، بنقول about وبنحكي الموضوع، وهذا اللي صار. حكى الموضوع about what was added to his job description. زعلان حول زعلان على الشيء على الشيء الذي أضيف لأعباء عمله already. هو عنده أعباء انضاف عليهم كمان more tasks and more things. لهيك أنا قلت إنه when we were appointed, when we were first appointed، أول ما تعيننا بوظائفنا, we had to do certain things, and then all of a sudden we started having more and more things to do. The list kept on adding and becoming larger, and yes, right? Do you agree with me? How about that? Do you agree? I hope you agree. You better agree.
Yes.
You better agree with
Yes.
me, okay? Your life is in my hands. On Saturday you have an exam. All right. So, Dr. Khulud, would you like to do one of these sentences, to work on one of these sentences? Thank you for your help, Dr. Ghaith. We want to move on to another sentence now.
Yes.
Who
I
wants
want to answer 5.
Yeah, go ahead. 5.
The motorist was unable to discover who he had struck his car. If we look to the sentence who and he, we have 2 subjects. Who or he. I think the sentence is wrong.
Why is it wrong? Listen, I agree it's wrong. I'm the kind of person,
Yes.
because I've been teaching English all my life. When I read the sentence, I know right away when it's wrong and when it's right, okay? Right away, I like this, on the spot. But
Yes.
I just want to know, why is it wrong now?
Yes, the motorist was unable to discover. Until now, it's okay. Who he? We don't need he here.
Good. You know why? Because it's ungrammatical. Listen, let me tell you why. We don't need he here. With who, most of the times, honestly speaking, I want to give you a tip. With who, usually we don't need he or any subject. Just let me tell you that. And let me explain further.
Because if we look to the sentence, who is the subject?
Exactly. It's the subject here and the connector. But I want to tell you more about this, okay? You can't say this why. I'll tell you why. The motorist was unable to discover who had struck his car. يعني مش مكتشف مين. Who معناها الذي، الشخص الذي لحاله، ما في داعي لهاي. الشخص الذي had struck his car يعني اللي خبط سيارته، الشخص اللي خبط سيارته باختصار. ليه another he? Why a he here? الشخص الذي هي تكفي. Okay, so remove this because it's going to mess
Yes.
up the grammar of the sentence. Okay, we don't need it. I want to tell you something else. You can say something like this: the motorist was unable to discover who he had struck. وتوقفوا وتشيلوا هاي. Okay, يعني ممكن نشيل هاي ونعتبرها سليمة هاي. Okay, ليش؟ شو بصير معناها؟ listen. مين يقول لي شو بصير معناها لو شلنا his car وتركنا هي؟ Do you think
أنا
I
بحكي
want
لك
to ask
دكتورة.
one question. I want to ask a
In
question. If we remove his car,
who
if we
struck
remove
يعني
his
there
car,
is
will
an
the sentence be right?
object
ممكن تصير
يعني
مفعول به دكتورة.
motorist
Okay, listen,
struck.
let's not talk together. Let's have Dr. Noura speak about this and then Dr. Khulud.
Yes. دكتورة لو شلنا his car رح تصير محل المفعول به.
Okay, but I mean in terms of
تمام.
meaning. Read this.
فرح
Look,
بيكون في عنا
the motorist,
subject.
let me explain to you what it means. The motorist was unable to discover. هاي يعني احنا متفاهمين عليها. The motorist was unable to discover يعني سائق الدراجة النارية was unable to discover. كان صعب عليه يكتشف أو يعرف who he had struck. who يعني الشخص who he يعني الشخص اللي هو هذا شوفير الموتور سايكل ضربه. فهو الشخص اللي انضرب وهي الموتور سايكلست ساعتها بتكون معناها. Okay? Okay? So that's why if we remove this it will be correct. Okay? So again نرجع مرة ثانية to explain the meaning. The motorist was unable to discover who الشخص ايش اللي هو سائق الدراجة ضرب. Okay?
خبطه.
Yes. So in that case it will be right. Okay? فيعني لكن إذا أنتم بدكم على الأسهل يعني والأبسط إنه just remove this أوكي والجملة بتكون سليمة لأنه هو بالأصل طريقة التصحيح بتكون لها علاقة بالدرس نفسه ترى. أوكي وشغلة تانية التصحيح بيكون تصحيح بأقل الحركات. يعني I want to correct my sentence okay but with the least effort possible. Okay not to make lots of different changes. Okay in order to correct. This is why the goal here in TOEFL if you want to correct. Okay تمام. Okay.
تمام دكتورة.
Now what I want to say is that we need to move on to the next lesson because we don't want to stay here forever and I don't want you to always think that everything in TOEFL is complicated because it's not. We want to move now to use adjective clause connectors correctly. Okay? First of all, what are adjective clauses? إحنا مضيناها على clauses ترى. You know, I know it's kind of boring. I'm sorry about that, but what can I do? This is what you have in your book, okay? What are adjective clauses? So, and the clauses have connectors, okay? Or the clauses themselves are connectors, okay? What does this mean? طبعا, you know that, nouns are words that sometimes we can describe. أحيانا الأسماء إحنا بنوصفها بتعرفوا. All right? We say the tall girl, the beautiful woman, the intelligent young man, the intelligent young man. So two adjectives حتى هون مع man, young و intelligent. All right? So yes, we use adjectives. هلا هدول الادجectives اللي حكيتهم قبل شوي اللي هن الصفات. adjective معناها الصفة. هاي الصفات العادية اللي تبعت كل يوم اللي بنعرفهم big, small, tall, short, intelligent, clever, interesting. اوكي هاي الصفات الروتينية اللي احنا كلنا متأقلمين عليها وبنعرفها. لكن هل do you know that sometimes we can use clauses as adjectives؟ تعرفوا انه احيانا انا ممكن استخدم clause اللي هي شبه جملة بمحل صفة. يعني أكيد بتعرفوا بس مرات ما بننتبه مزبوط. we don't pay attention to that. وخلينا ناخذ this example over here. Let's take this example and from it we will understand what we mean exactly by this. Okay من هالمثال هو المفروض إنه يتوضح لنا شو يعني إنه الclause هون جاية صفة مش الصفات الروتينية اللي بنعرفها big, small, tall, short. Okay let's take a look. An adjective clause. شو هي adjective clause؟ It is a clause. وإحنا بنعرف خلص إحنا عارفين شو يعني clause. Clause يعني في subject اللي هو غالبا بكون السبجكت عبارة عن اسم. alright. ليش أنا قلت غالبا؟ لأنه أحيانا could be a connector. تذكروا آخر درس كان connector. alright. كمان it's a noun وبكون وراها verb فعل. اوكي. وغالبا بتعطيني معنى تام، وممكن يكون في complement يعني كلمتين ثلاثة ممكن بدها تكمل المعنى، ممكن نستخدم نكمل المعنى. alright. بس that's the basic structure. basic structure إنه لازم يكون في subject و verb بالclause. لما أحكي clause there must be a subject and a verb. okay. So an adjective clause is a clause that describes a noun. إذن هي clause عبارة عن عبارة فيها اسم وفيها verb والغرض منها توصف الاسم. To describe. See, describes means توصف. Because the clause is an adjective. هاي الclause شو بسميها عاد ساعة تتخيلوا؟ An adjective. It is positioned. موقعها وين بيجي؟ Directly after the noun. موقعها بيجي بعد الnoun. Okay, not before, after. Okay, that it describes. خلينا نشوف. The woman. هيها اسم هاي the woman. المرأة. ما لها الامرأة؟ أيوة. is filling. verb. عم بتعبي الكاسة. This woman wants to drink water. The woman is filling the glass or the cup. The glass طبعا هي كاسة ولكن من الأزاز لما نقول the glass. alright. So the woman is filling the glass. طبعا if I stop here إذا بوقف هون تمام جملتي سليمة 100% تمام. بس أحيانا we want to describe this our nouns. نوصف هالأسماء اللي في الجمل. okay. So the woman is filling the glass. أي كاسة عم بتعبي؟ بدنا نحكي أي كاسة اللي هي وصف للكاسة. That she put on the table. So هاي صفة الكاسة لأنه في كاسات كثير بيجوز بالمطبخ. But this one specifically we call this a clause that describes the noun, or we call it an adjective clause. So the clause اللي بتوصف الاسم it's called an adjective clause. Okay. Do you agree on this? Do we all agree on this? Yes.
Yes, we agree, but I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
She after that put on the table, is it correct?
No. That put on the table is not used in English, honestly speaking. Okay. It's not used. Do you know what you can say?
Sorry, that is on the table.
Yes, of course you can say that is on the table. That is on the table. I will accept.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, we can remove the subject of
yes,
after
you
that.
Can. That is correct. Dr. Ghaith, 100% that's used. And that's correct.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. But we're talking about the sentences that we have, but what you said is also correct. I agree with you. Okay? Let's take a look at the second sentence. Look at this. The glass. The glass means the cup, that she put on the table, contains milk. So here the writer of this sentence decided to describe now the subject, not the object. Here it's the object that was described, right? Here the subject was described. Look at that. The glass that she put on the table, contains milk. Why do we have sentences like this? Just to tell you that this is the main subject and this is not a main subject. This is a subject of what? Of the adjective clause. Because sometimes people make mistakes, that's all, and they think the sentence is correct. Yani imagine I want to ask you something, okay? Imagine this was not included in the whole sentence. The glass was not there. Can I say that, oh, there's a subject here, yalla, that means the sentence is correct, and there's a verb here, that's okay? No. Well, that's the thing. The thing is just to tell you, to explain to you cases where, it's the sentences are okay and sentences are not okay. Just to be aware of things and mistakes, that happen between, sometimes in, with people when they speak. Okay. So the glass that she put on the table, contains milk. Contains means يحتوي, right? Yeah. So this is this clause over here was used to describe the subject. All right. Let me, I'm sorry, make this smaller so that I can move on to our next page, which is right here. I think I'm gonna have to, oh my gosh, what did I do? Okay, I messed up the world. I hope I can heal it quickly though. Where are we? Okay, yeah, correct. Let me just enlarge then. All right. So in the first example, there are, can I just, make this small this time, just this time, forgive me. Do you know why? Because we want the examples and we want the explanation together. That's why I'm saying that, okay? Let me see if I can do that. Make it even smaller, I think. Forgive me for this, okay, that I'm making things smaller for you. But we need all this information. That's why I'm doing that. So in the first example, there are two clauses. This is the example. The woman is filling the glass that she put on the table. So woman is the subject of the verb, right? The woman here is the subject of the verb what? Is filling. And she, this one, she here, is the subject of the verb put. The verb put, here it is, okay? That is the adjective clause connector. So what is that? It's here a connector to connect what? The adjective clause with this clause over here, the one before it, okay? Yeah. Or it's used to connect, I'm sorry, not with the whole thing, I'm sorry, with the noun, okay? Because that's what it's supposed to do. So that's the adjective clause connector that joins these two clauses, and it says here that it joins both the clauses as well, okay? And the adjective clause that she put on the table, this one over here, the second one, describes the noun clause. Does it? Which noun clause does it describe that she put on the table? So it's used to describe the glass over here. Am I reading from the right place or at the right place? Let me see. That she put on the table describes the noun glass. Okay, yes, it does. I'm sorry. Let's take a look at the second example. In the second example, there are also two clauses, okay? Where are the two clauses? Glass is the subject of the verb. Glass here, as you can see, it's the subject of the verb. What's the verb here? This one, contains, right? Contains, and she, is the subject of the verb put. We mean by she, this one over here, it's the subject of this verb put, right? Yeah. In this sentence also, that is the adjective clause connector that joins these two clauses, okay? So that, at the same time, while it is used to, like to link this, to the noun, the clause to the noun, it is considered the connector of all of this, let me say, sentence, okay? Yeah. Because, when we have more than one clause, there has to be, remember one time we said when there are clauses, there has to be a connector. Clauses need a connector. All clauses, not this kind only, all kinds of clauses, okay, need connectors. Always ask yourself, where is the connector? Okay. All right. And the adjective clause that she put on the table describes the noun, that she put on the table describes the noun. What is the noun that it describes? Glass. Okay, this adjective clause, it describes the glass. Okay. Now we want to take an example. Take a look at this example. Well, since we're going to take the example right now, I think I can have the freedom to enlarge my screen a bit and move to the right. Yeah. So probably we can see in a clearer manner, the sentence. The gift. What are we going to put here? Think about these options. The gift. And then selected for the bride. Selected means chosen, that we chose for the bride. The bride, what's the bride in Arabic? Was rather expensive. كانت غالية الثمن, right?
عروس.
Exactly, العروس. So the gift, what? Because selected, was selected, since selected, which we selected. Marriage? What do you think? The gift, what do we want to put here? We need
which we.
Good. Do we have a connector? Do we have a connector here? We have two clauses. We have the gift.
Which we. Yes. Yes.
We have the
I
gift.
think which we.
Good. Good. So the gift which we selected for the bride was rather expensive. The gift which we selected for the bride was rather. So basically this over here was rather expensive. This is the main clause, the main one. Okay. This one is the embedded one. This one is the embedded, the gift, because listen, you can say the gift was rather expensive, right? And it would be meaningful. The gift was rather expensive. But now we want to describe the gift. How do we want to describe the gift? The gift which we selected for the bride. So this over here, this clause is called the adjective clause, right? Which we selected. Which we selected يعني اللي اخترناها. الهدية was rather expensive. هاي جملة أصلا. But now we want a clause. There's a clause here that describe the gift. في clause هون وصفت هالهدية, right? The gift, which is what? Connector. And then a regular like structure. We selected. Which we selected. التي يعني اخترناها. هالهدية اللي اخترناها for the bride. للعروس. This is the adjective because we selected it. The gift was not a gift probably by her, by her father, given to her by her father, or a gift probably from her friends. No, it was selected by us, maybe her friends, her relatives. I don't know who we are talking about when we talk about we. The speaker. It depends on the speaker and who that speaker is, or who that speaker, the relationship of the speaker to the person, that I mean here is the bride, okay? So in this example, you should notice, نلاحظ إيش guys, quickly, that there are two clauses. Two clauses? Yes, there are two clauses, of course. One embedded in the other. واحدة بتوصف يعني the gift. واحدة من الكلازز هي عبارة عن وصف للgift، والكلاز الثانية اللي هي الأكبر يعني لو بدنا نستثني الصفة الكلاز كصفة هي الكلاز الثانية اللي هي the gift was rather expensive. okay؟ يعني الهدية كانت باهظة الثمن. لكن الكلاز الثانية هي عبارة عن صفة لgift, right? the gift, all right? اللي هي which we selected for the bride. Anyway, let's read what is said here. In this example, you should notice quickly what gift is the subject, right? Of the verb was. هي عبارة عن subject لهذا الverb اللي هو was, and the verb selected, والفعل هون selected ماله needs a subject, بحاجة ل subject. All right, there's a verb here. And remember, every verb needs a subject. Every verb needs a subject. Here's the subject here for this verb. But where is the subject for this verb? Okay, we need it. Where is it? So will it be because, was, or since? These don't work, guys. You know that, right? Because we need a subject. These are not subjects in any kind of way. This is the subject and the connector, right? Subject and connector, okay, for gift. All right. And so because there are two clauses, a connector is also needed. When there are two clauses, this is a rule of thumb that you must keep in mind. We always need a connector. Answers A and C. Why do we reject A and C? Because and since have connectors, but let me say there are no subjects. So these answers are not correct. We need a connector and we need a subject at the same time. Answer B, this one was selected into a passive. It will change it into a passive verb. In this case, the sentence would have one subject and two verbs. So answer B is not correct, okay? The best answer to this question is answer D. Why D? Because we said we need connector and we need a subject, all right? In this sentence, gift, did I read this? Where are we? The best answer is D. The correct sentence should say the gift which we selected for the bride was rather expensive. In this sentence, gift is the subject of the verb was. We is the subject, of the verb selected, right? We is the subject of this verb, and this is the connector that connects between this clause of description, let me say, or the adjective clause we call it, and the wider clause which it is part of, okay? Which is the gift that was rather expensive, all right? All right, in this sentence, gift, etc., we is the subject of the verb selected and the connector which joins these two clauses. Take a look at the table or the chart. The following chart lists what the adjective clause connectors. These are adjective clause connectors. Here they are. We have whom, and we commonly use whom, and which, and that as adjective clause connectors. And the sentence patterns used with them. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Okay, look at this. So whom, first of all, before we move on to this, whom is used for people. Okay. This man whom you know is my neighbor. See, like a sentence like that. This man or whom you know, is my neighbor. So whom you know, is probably an adjective clause here, and which sometimes we use which for things, which, for things, للأشياء, which, all right? You might say the book which I bought, the book which I rented, because you want to describe the book. The book is a thing, right? So we say this, the book which you gave me, all right? So this is also, a way to describe the subject. I'm talking about the subject in this case. And sometimes that is easier for all of us to use. Do you know why? Because it gives us the freedom. That gives us a lot of freedom. You can use that with people, instead of whom, and you can use it with things. So you know what the problem is? When you want to speak, it's fine for you to use that for things and for people. But what if in the exam you were forced to use one of these? That's why you have to familiarize yourself with them. Got the idea? Because sometimes in speech, you can make the choice and, to give yourself the freedom and use that as the connector of your, let me say, adjective clause. But what if you are not given the freedom? You have a question in the exam and you have to deal with it, okay? And you're supposed to include whom and include which. So learn how to use all of these, adjective clause connectors, okay? I liked the book. يعني أنا حبيت الكتاب, right? I liked the book. حبيت الكتاب. Which book? Which you recommended. الذي هذا الكتاب اللي أنت أوصيت فيه. يعني زي ما تقولوا أوصيتني أقرأه مثلا. Okay, that's what it means. You recommended اللي أوصيتني فيه. يعني اللي أوصيتني أقرأه. أو نصحتني باعتبار recommended زي كمان فيها نصيحة, right? يعني that you advised me to read, all right? Something like that. So take a look, guys. I like the book. So this over here is what? An adjective clause. This over here is the connector of the adjective clause. You know that, okay? Why? This adjective clause is describing here or describes here what the book that, the noun book, which is book, all right? I like the book. حبيت والله الكتاب. طب أي كتاب? Which book are you talking about? Oh, I'm talking about, the one you recommended, the one you recommended. So which means the one really you recommended, okay? Now imagine that sometimes, some people are clear from the very beginning. في ناس ما شاء الله واضحين من البداية ما بيحبوا يلفوا ويدوروا. So شو بقول لك؟ من البداية والله مش حبيت الكتاب وبتصير أنت تقول أي كتاب هذا عن شو بيحكي, what is he talking about, all right? No, some people are very, intelligent and they're clear from the very beginning. They know that sometimes, the listener may not understand what they're saying. And so from the very beginning, they're very clear and straightforward and they say something like this. تخيلوا شو بقولوا. The book which you recommended, تعرف الكتاب اللي أنت طلبت مني أقرأه أو اللي وصيتني عليه هالكتاب, it's like you gave me advice to read, was interesting. كان فعلا ممتع. Interesting, like, ممتع. It interested me. يعني استمتعت وأنا عم بقرأ فيه, هالأفكار, the ideas that were in it were really, ones that I could connect to, relate to, understand, and, really make use of, all right? Something of that kind. That's why I would say, that the book was interesting. So انتوا شوفوا, the book was interesting. هاي clause لحالها. تعرفوا بس يعني لو هاي مش موجودة, هاي which you recommended, تمام, it would be a sentence even, okay? But the problem now, I can't call it a sentence. The book was interesting because it contains something else. It contains an adjective clause. So I say all of this together with the adjective clause is a sentence, and this sentence is one that is not made of one simple idea, all right? It's made of two clauses, okay? A main clause, هاي بسميها main clause ترى, the book, was interesting. And this over here is, like subordinate to it, يعني, like smaller inside of it, okay? So the book, which you recommended. And why do I call this a clause? ليه بسميها هاي clause؟ لأنه it has a subject and a verb. بس ليه بعتبرها أقل؟ يعني less than this one. Do you know why? Who knows why? هاي بعتبرها أقل. Who knows? I want to see if hands are up. Why do I think of this as less than this clause? يعني هاي بعتبرها رئيسية وهاي فرعية. Why? Both of them are clauses. This one is main, and this one over here is like minor or, not as, major. Okay. Let me see hands up. Yes, Dr. Noura, I think your hand is up. What do you want to say about this matter?
بس دكتورة الجملة أنت حكيتي أي واحدة فيهم الرئيسة the book صح؟
The book was interesting. It's not the sentence, it's a clause. I'm talking about, this is all of it together is a sentence, but this clause,
yes.
the book was interesting, is major, and this one is minor. Do you know why?
صوتك راح دكتورة مرة تانية.
Do you know why the book was interesting is major? Major يعني رئيسية, and which you recommended is minor. Do you know why? Why I say that?
يعني هي جملة كاملة.
بس هاي الكلاوز the book was interesting. هو الكلاوز عبارة عن subject and verb.
Yes.
وهاي subject and verb. There's another
and verb.
Why is
يعني
this one
أول
major? هاي اللي هون. وهاي why do we call it minor? Minor يعني فرعية مش رئيسية, يعني like subordinate يعني إنها
recommended
زي ما
عادي.
تقولوا هيك
فالمعنى
ضعيفة بحاجة يعني. why? What?
دكتورة أنت سامعتني؟
Yes, I can hear you, but I didn't hear your explanation. ما سمعت شرحك.
The book was interesting هي الفكرة الرئيسية اللي احنا بدنا نوصلها. لو حذفنا you recommended كان عادي ما بتأثر على الكلمة, بس لو أو على الجملة.
which you recommended
لو حذفنا
yes.
لو حذفنا the book was interesting يعني في something wrong صار.
طبعا what's wrong إنه ما بنقدر نقول which you recommended كجملة نتركها لحالها أصلا. which you recommended
لحالها بالضبط, لأنه ما في
يعني
إشي عم
حتى
نخبر
it's
عنه
lacking
يعني.
meaning, فيه إشي ناقص واضح جدا. you see that's why أنا بسميها clause and a weak one because it also has a connector, and what is it connecting to? you see this is why. لكن هاي سميتها clause. تعرفوا ليش سميتها clause؟ هاي جبرتني أسميها clause. وجود هاي خلاني أسميها clause, not because it lacks meaning. If we put it alone, it still has, complete meaning, mashallah, nothing is lacking. But the idea is, this is what drove it. هذا المقطع هو اللي خلاها واللي يعني حطها تحت الأمر الواقع to be a clause. You see, this is why. Thank you so much. Yes, what do you want to say, Dr. Ghait? Yes, let's listen to you.
Which you recommended was interesting. Without the book is okay.
Which you recommended? Are you sure?
Which you recommended was interesting.
Not which, Dr. Ghait. I'm going to go against you. What you recommended,
Why?
not which. What you recommended.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. What you recommend.
صح. What? Okay. بقبل منك what, بس which no. Okay. So what you recommended الشيء يعني لأنه صار معناها what you recommended was interesting. Okay. يعني you're describing something that this person recommended. Okay. يعني this is extra. Extra work. Yeah. Go ahead. Tell me.
And which you recommended here is يعني closed instead of the subject.
Yes. It is, what would you say? I can't hear I didn't get what you said at the end.
I mean, which you recommended is a subject for was it interesting or interesting.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, you mean the new sentence? The new sentence that you just mentioned?
Yeah. What you recommended?
Yeah. I mean, if it was not, if we didn't have the book, if we didn't have the word the book, or the two words the book, what you recommended would be the subject. It's true. Yeah. If it was like that. Yeah, thank you. So it's true. Let's read the note. Can you read this, Dr. Ghait, for me? If you can see the note, can you read the note for us?
Oh, it's a little bit adjective. I cannot read.
Okay.
Can I read it?
Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Ghait. Let's have
Yes.
Dr. Khulud. Maybe she has better eyesight.
Yeah. The adjective connector can be omitted. Is very common in spoken English or in written English. It is not as common in formal English or in the section.
Okay, thank you so much. So the note says that in spoken English يعني بالكلام المحكي يعني تقريبا اللغة الكاجوال اللي هي الغير رسمية. Okay. أحيانا you can omit معناها نحذف. this connector. يعني ممكن نقول the book which you recommended was interesting نقول the book you recommended وتعني نفس الشيء. اوكي يعني تعرفوا هاي عملية الحذف اصلا معروفة انها less formal اقل رسمية less standard اقل يعني خلينا نقول يعني فصاحة كمان حتى. اوكي so النصيحة هي طبعا انه do not omit your connectors ما تحذفوا ادوات الربط لانه لغة التوفل لغة اللي بناخذها رسمية. اوكي احنا عم نستخدم كلمات ومصطلحات وقواعد رسمي. اوكي and it's not everyday spoken colloquial English that we are using here. okay فالنصيحة هون في هاي النوت إنه يعني yes you will hear people removing and omitting these connectors but don't do that when you are working on the TOEFL because this is not as they just said it is not standard. okay مش يعني طريقة رسمية للتعامل I'm sorry مع كتاب التوفل. okay all right so let me just move on to the next page and see what we have. I think we're going to have some exercises right now. okay and let's take a look at the exercises. Where are they? Oh, here they are. I'm sorry about that. okay are these the exercises over here, everyone? I think they're these ones. all right and then after that we have 12. Well, it looks like today we're going slower than I expected. I don't know why. It looks like we got hooked and connected to the exercises. okay we'll try to go faster a bit right now because 12 is the last skill in the grammar. okay we want to not to give it maybe 10 minutes and then move on to at least one skill in reading. okay exercise 11, each of the following sentences contains more than one clause. So these sentences, this is a sentence, this is a sentence, each one of them is a sentence. They have more than one clause. Underline the subjects once and the verbs twice. okay let's do that. Circle the connectors. okay if you have a connector like which, like that, let's circle them. Put boxes around the adjective clause. If you have an adjective clause, put a box around it, like this clause that follows the connector right away. okay then indicate if the sentences are correct or incorrect. all right who would like to start with us today? Dr. Ghaith, your hand is up. Would you like to discuss one of these sentences? Which one would you like to work on?
Number 4.
4. It's a good idea that we have been skipping 1 and 2. Do you know why? Because they are answered and they're in front of you. So it's good that you guys decide
because
to
of that.
Beyond 1 and 2. Yes, 4. Go ahead.
The plane that he was scheduled to take to Hawaii was delayed. The plane is subject. That he was scheduled to take to Hawaii is a connector and describing the plane. It's a adjective clause. Was delayed, it's the verb, and was delayed is the verb for the plane.
Yes, and this is a passive, by the way, passive sentence or clause. I'm sorry. It's a passive clause. The plane was delayed. يعني الطائرة تأخرت. Was delayed. أو تم تأخير الطائرة. The plane was delayed by the airlines. من قبل شركة الطيران, something like that. So the plane is a subject, as you said right now. Okay. And was delayed is the verb of that, and this is the clause, this is the main clause, right? The plane was delayed. Now in between بالنص في عندي what we have, what this that he was scheduled to take to Hawaii. This is the what, the adjective clause, because it describes the plane. Now that is the connector, as you have just mentioned. He is the subject, was scheduled. okay was scheduled even to take. All of this is the verb. يعني كان عامل ترتيب ليأخذها هاي الطائرة. And to Hawaii, of course, preposition and noun. okay so everything is, what do you think? Is everything fine? Is there anything missing? Do you feel anything is missing here? All is well, right? Do you agree, all of you? All is well? Huh?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
correct.
Let's just have somebody do one more, and then we have to move on to adjective, clause, connector, subjects. Okay? Now, the difference between this lesson and this lesson is just like the noun, clause, connector, first lesson and the second one. See, here we have a connector and a subject. Here, in this lesson, we're going to have what? We're just going to have a connector, which is the subject again as the clause, just like the previous lesson that we took. One more sentence here. Who can help us with one of these sentences? Let me see your hands up. Where are the participants? I don't see any hands up, or do I? Okay, Dr. Khulud. How about you work on one of these? Which one have you chosen?
The number 8.
Number 8, yeah.
The story
The story that you told me about Bob.
the sentence.
Was amazing.
Yeah. The sentence.
Okay, I want to laugh. Please tell me what's so funny.
That there is some wrong.
Of course,
The
something's
story-
wrong.
the story that you told me.
About Bob. Good job.
Yeah.
So there's something missing. We shouldn't have a period here. We should have something else here. The story. القصة. القصة اللي حكيتي لي إياها ها التي that أنا عم بحكي بالعامية عشان أوضح لكم you know how we use these sentences. The story هي القصة okay that you told me about Bob التي أخبرتيني فيها عن Bob you know مالها طيب مالها where's the rest of the sentence so it's clear that something's wrong right?
Where's the continue?
Yes. And what should continue here is the verb, honestly speaking. المفروض الإشي اللي يكون هون هو الverb لهاي السبجect. The story, ها? Because لأنه هاي
Was
الclause,
amazing.
Was interesting. Was amazing.
What about this clause? هاي adjective clause. يعني this clause that you told me about Bob هي وصف للstory. القصة اللي حكيتي لي إياها عن Bob, maybe you can say is unbelievable. نكملها إحنا من عندنا. Is unbelievable. Okay? Or did not happen. والله هاي فأسة صراحة. Did not happen. The story that you told me about did not happen. How about that one? So the thing is, بغض النظر شو كيف نكملها, there has to be a verb here somewhere and probably a complement. لأنه هون سليم الوضع هو سليم كله تمام but not period. We didn't finish. Why did you put the period and we are not done, right? So here we have بعد that, as you can see, you have a subject, you, told, verb, and then a complement. The rest of it is like the object, etc., prepositional phrase, but we still do not have the verb of the main clause. Remember the story, it needs a verb. So this is why this is incomplete. Now we want to move on to these new sentences in skill 12, okay?
Dr.
Yes.
Doctor? Excuse me, Sivan. Really, I didn't understand it. 7.
Okay, we'll go to 7. Why don't you do it for us? Read it for us.
Okay. The enthusiasm with which he greeted me made me feel welcome. يعني الشخص ما عاد أترجم فيها الشخص اللي بحماسة عن جد بحماسة الذي رحب بنا جعلني ما فهمتهاش هيك تركيبتها.
هلا بنشوف someone who would like to explain it to us, and if no one is there to no one wants to explain it, I'll do that job. Does anybody want to talk about this sentence or discuss it with Dr. Khulud?
The enthusiasm with which he greeted me. Let me make it correct. It's incorrect. Yes.
The enthusiasm with which he greeted me made me feel welcome. Are you sure? Are you sure that it's incorrect? Who thinks that this is incorrect?
Because we have with and which. With which he greeted me made me feel welcome.
Okay, let's listen to Dr. Ghaif. Let's see. You said it's wrong, right? Dr. Khulud?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see Dr. Ghaif and what he says about this.
The enthusiasm which made me feel welcome. This is the main sentence. And which he greeted me is a minor sentence, we can say.
Okay, I want to ask you, is this correct? The sentence, is it correct?
I think yes.
It is. It's correct, by the way. Let me explain to you grammatically, and let me explain to you in terms of meaning, because your friend here had a problem with the meaning also, okay? So take a look at this sentence, huh? The enthusiasm means al-hamas. Did you ever go to someone and they're so excited? Huh? Sometimes my students, when they meet me, I don't know why they're so excited. Maybe because I treat them well. I don't know. I think everyone deserves to be respected, you know. But, you know, sometimes when they see me, they're flying, you know. I don't know why they shouldn't be flying like that, I would tell myself, you know. But I'm lucky probably, since they're enthusiastic about meeting me, you know. So the enthusiasm, معناه, guys, al-hamas. Okay. And sometimes, you know, when people love you so much, you know, you see them, you know, like over the moon, as they say, right? It's just, you know, symbolic, metaphoric, over the moon. Okay. So the enthusiasm, it's really this. The enthusiasm is subject. Where's the verb? It's this. Made me feel welcome. يعني هذا الحماس اللي أنا شفته. That's what it means. This enthusiasm made me feel, خلاني أشعر إني مرحب يعني فيه. Okay? Huh? Made me feel welcome or welcomed or something like that. It's fine. هلا, the enthusiasm, it's described here. This over here is what? We called it a clause. What kind of a clause?
Preposition?
No. With which, okay? تزبط, by the way, it's used as a connector with which. Okay? With which they
Adjective.
أيوة. So it's an adjective clause. Okay? With which could be used as a connector. يعني هاي تستخدم كأداة ربط to describe the noun. لنوصف الnoun. With which معناها الذي. Okay? with which الذي يعني هو هذا الشخص اللي شافني حياني فيه. هذا الحماس الذي يعني like حييت به, like that. Okay? هذا الحماس اللي أنا يعني like كان موجود لما حيوني فيه أو حياني فيه هذا الشخص. right? made me feel, جعلني أشعر بالترحاب أو إني أنا مرحب فيه يعني. okay? طبعا الجملة ما فيها إشي صراحة. okay? It's correct, nothing is wrong with it.
But
yeah.
دكتورة, here he يعني I think
no, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. All right. This is the connector.
Yeah.
This is the subject. And
yeah, but I mean,
right?
yeah, but I mean, he is not referred to a person here.
No, the person that had the enthusiasm is a man. Okay? The man, this man who felt the enthusiasm, who welcomed me, I'm talking about him. So the enthusiasm, يعني it's just like, you know, I'm talking about the enthusiasm with which he greeted me. هي شوي دسمة هاي الجملة. All right, I'm going to be fair with you. Okay? So هذا الحماس اللي هو حياني فيه, يعني هاي شكلها تابعة لجملة سابقة. Okay? All right? You know, made me feel, جعلني أشعر in that I'm welcome. Okay, so basically نرجع again. So the enthusiasm is the subject, made me feel welcome is the rest of the sentence. It is the rest of the main clause. Now with which he greeted me, هو حياني بتحية معينة. All right, that's what it means. The sentence is 100% correct. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, it's just, you know,
دكتورة لو شلنا لو شلنا وين احنا 7 لو شلنا الوذ شو بصير؟
والله هي بصراحة الانثوزيازم تحديدا بالذات بدها with why؟ لأنه حتى لو شلتيها هون بدك تقولي بعدين the enthusiasm which he greeted me with، يعني الحماس اللي سلم علي فيه. في هذا الحماس, you know, with it's going to be said later. So with which يعني
Yes.
حتى لو مش هون
Definitely with.
استخدمتيها, later you have to put it in. Okay?
Yes.
All right? Yeah. So هو الحماس هون جاي زي أداة, that's why. Okay, هي شوي, it's kind of, you know, difficult a bit, but it's not impossible. I hope that you understood my explanation. And now my explanation is recorded. Try to listen to it once or twice. Maybe it will sink in. Okay? I'm sorry that sometimes there are sentences that are harder than others, but, you know, sentences are of different levels. You know that. We have to, you know, experience the hard, the easy, the in-between sometimes, all right? Now, this lesson, don't make it harder than it is, please. Don't make this lesson harder than it is, because it's not that hard, all right? It's just like the previous lesson. The only difference is that we don't have a subject after the connector. The connector itself is the subject, okay? Just like the noun clauses. Remember the noun clauses? Huh? The beginning, there was a connector and then a separate subject. And then we had the
Yes.
connector itself was the noun, okay? Here it's the same. Huh? So the adjective clause, look at it over here and look at it here. The woman is filling the glass. What about the glass? That is on the table. Not that she brought, that she put on the table, okay? The glass, that is on the table, okay? So that means the
That's
glass.
what I asked you, Dictora, before.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to ask me anything?
That the question that I asked you before, in that sentence.
Am I supposed to answer you, Dr. Ghaith, or I don't know?
I'm telling you that the same sentence, the woman is filling the glass, that is on the table, that I asked
Oh,
you
you asked it
if it's
before.
possible
I
to do
remember.
that.
Yes, you did. You did. True.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you said, is that fine if I say something like that? Yes, it's fine. It's fine. As you said, and I answered you then, and I told you it would be fine. Okay. Yes. So these are just different ways to express the sentence. Okay. And listen, if you are given the freedom to correct sentences and you correct them your way and your way is correct, there is no one way to what is correct sometimes, you know, it depends on what you want to say, right? Yeah. So take a look, guys. So we saw that adjective clause connectors were used to introduce the clause that, you know, describe nouns. In skill 12, we will see that in some cases an adjective clause connector is not just a connector. An adjective clause connector can also be the subject of the clause at the same time. The woman is filling the glass that is on the table, as we said here. We don't have a separate subject. The connector is the subject, okay? Because it implies the meaning of the subject. Look at it. When you say the woman is filling the glass, الامرأة عم بتعبي بالكاسة. وهي الكاسة بدي أوصفها. That is on the table. يعني الكاسة اللي على الطاولة. التي على الطاولة. Okay? ما قلت والله التي هي وضعتها على الطاولة. أنا هيك. That's what I want. So sometimes the connector itself can work as also a subject. Okay? In some cases. So the glass that is on the table, هي الكاسة التي على الطاولة. This is a, you know, adjective clause, and the connector itself is the subject also. Contains milk. Remember we said the glass contains milk like this, you know, this is the main clause, and this clause over here, we call it like a subordinate, you know, a smaller, a weaker one, right? Inside the bigger clause. Together, they are one unit and one sentence, but a sentence that has more than one subject and more than one verb, okay? Because we would think that all sentences have one subject, you know, and one verb. No, not necessarily. Sentences that have more than one clause can have, you know, more than one subject and more than one verb, right? In the first example, what about this example? There are two clauses, okay? This one, and the one, this one and this one, okay? Yeah. Woman is the subject of the verb. This one, it's the subject of this verb, right? Is filling, and that is the subject of the verb is. That, what is this? That it's the subject of this verb is, right? Let me admit. These two clauses are joined with the connector that. So this clause, this one and this one over here, they are joined with this connector, which is also the subject, you know. Notice that in this example, the word that serves two functions, that, right? To jobs. At the same time, it is the subject of the verb is. So it's the subject of this verb is, and at the same time, that serves to sorry, where am I? And it is the connector that joins the two clauses, because it at the same time is the connector that connects this clause with this clause. Okay, because remember, every sentence that has two clauses needs a what? Connector. Remember that all the time. We can't have two clauses without a connector. Okay, second example right now. What about the second example? There are two clauses. Glass is the subject of the verb. It's the subject of the verb. What is the verb? Contains, this verb, okay? And that is the subject of the verb is. That over here, it is the subject of this verb, which is, okay? And where am I? In this example, that also serves two functions. It is the subject of the verb is, and it is the connector. So that here is the subject of is, and at the same time, it is what connects this clause to this clause, right? Yeah. Because that is on the table is an adjective clause. This is an adjective clause because it's an adjective clause describing the noun glass. It describes what? This noun, which is glass. It directly follows glass. So just to tell you that, or to remind you that these clauses, these adjective clauses, always follow the noun that, they describe. Okay? Just keep that in mind, please. Okay, we have to go to this side right now and take a look at this example. The following example shows how these sentences or these, patterns, we're talking about sentence patterns, okay, could be tested in the structure section of the TOEFL test. Let's take a look at this example. Is on the table, has, so major verb, obviously, 4 sections. All right, so this is part of a clause, but we need a subject as well. So what do you think we're going to have right here? The notebook which, let me see, anybody else besides Dr. Ghaith? Not no other hands besides his hand? Okay, Dr. Ghaith, since you're the only one who has your hand up. My assistant, I should call
the notebook which thank you. The notebook which is one on the table has 4 sections. There is two clauses. The first one, the notebook, has 4 sections, and there is another sentence describing the notebook, which is on the table. So the best answer is B.
Thank you so much. Correct, 100%. So
Yes.
as Dr. Ghaith said, do you want to add something, Dr. Noura?
لا دكتورة بس كنت بدي أجاوب.
Okay,
بس
I'll let
حتى
you.
يجاوب
I'll let
دكتورة.
you. Okay, yeah. So as
Yes. Okay.
your classmate said, okay, that the notebook, which is the correct answer, it is, of course, because as we want a subject over here, and at the same time we want a connector. We don't have a connector. We have, look, a verb here, and a verb here. We need a subject for this verb, and at the same time we need a connector. So which of these has a subject and a connector? This is the one. Okay,
Number B.
this is the one. The notebook, which is on the table, has 4 sections. So basically it's the notebook, الدفتر, has 4 sections. تعرفوا الدفاتر هاي بيكون فيها division sections. Okay, one is for math, the other is for Arabic. Maybe you buy these notebooks for your children, I don't know. Okay, you might use them yourself, right? Okay, so the notebook is the major subject, and has 4 sections, is the verb, and this is, let me say, the complement of it. All right, or we can say an object or something of that kind. All right. Now we want to say what now about this over here, this area. So the notebook, which is the connector, which connects between the 2 clauses, and at the same time it's the subject, right, of what? Of is, the verb is. So which is on the table. So which also at the same time, although it is a connector, it also means the notebook. Do you know that? It means that when you say which, okay, we mean the notebook really over here, okay? So these are the two ideas in this sentence, okay? So in this example, you should notice immediately that the sentence has two verbs, is and has, and each of them needs a subject, of course. You know that table is not a subject, all right? Why it is not a subject? Because it follows what? On, preposition, all right? Because it follows the preposition on. So it's you know, what do we call it? An object of preposition, we call it. It's the object of the preposition. The only answer that has two subjects is answer B. So answer B is the correct answer. The correct sentence should say the notebook, which is on the table, has 4 sections. In this sentence, notebook is the subject of the verb has, and which is the subject of the verb is, which is also the connector that joins the two clauses. Let's take a look at the chart quickly, because I do want to give you a little bit of reading before I let you go. I hope I can do that. Let's see what we can do about that. Look at the table. We said, you know, these are the connectors. We have who sometimes, we have which, we have that, who for people, which for things, that for people or things, all right? And then there's an example. She needs a secretary. What about the secretary? Who types fast? So this is a description for the secretary. This is what? An adjective clause. And this adjective clause, it has the connector as the connector. The connector, I'm sorry, is the subject itself also, okay? So see how I used who? Because I'm talking about a human being, a secretary. Secretary is a human being. I did not use that, you know, which, let me say. But of course, as we said, you can use that. He needs a secretary that types fast, that would be acceptable, all right? So I'm not going to say no to it because it works for things and it works for people, but this is more respectful. A secretary who types fast, السكرتيرة أو أي سكرتيرة سريعة في الطباعة، يعني هي صفتها, right? is invaluable. هي شخص ماله invaluable، يعني صعب إنه نثمن هذا الشخص أو نقول شو قيمته، يعني قيمته لا تقدر بثمن. That's what invaluable means. لا تقدر بثمن, really, all right? But يعني honestly speaking, nowadays I would say not only types fast and, you know, is good in terms of the language, also is good when it has to do with the structures and, you know, the building of the language itself, is, you know, that could be also very helpful. All right. Sentences. Now we have Dr. Noura. I think she raised her hand earlier for these sentences. So
yes, Doctor.
Choose one.
I will answer number 3.
I have great respect for everyone. Read it.
Yes, I have great respect for everyone who on the Dean's list. في عنا هو دكتورة هي الادجكتيف connector. اوكي وفي عنا everyone هي subject بس ما في verb.
Good.
In this closed statement, so it is incorrect.
Good job. This is incorrect. We don't have a verb here. We don't have the second verb. That's the deal. I have great respect. This over here is what, guys? This is a clause, and this is the major clause, by the way. It's the major
it's complete.
Clause. Yeah, and if we stop here, tamam. But the problem is, I want to say, you know, I say more in my sentence. I have great respect for whom? For everyone. لكل الناس. But مش كل الناس كمان, again. For everyone who is on the dean's list. لكل الناس اللي على قائمة العميد. تعرفوا عميد الكلية. The dean means عميد. The dean's list. العميد بكتب أسماء الناس الشاطرة اللي غير شكل الشغيلة, you know. So I have great respect for everyone, not who on, who is on. Simply, we just need the verb of the, you know, what do we call it? Of the clause, of the adjective clause. Here, the adjective clause is used to describe the noun, which is followed which follows the preposition for. We want to do one more, and then we have to go, you know, to begin our reading. Dr. Hiba, do you want to make a choice?
Doctor, number 4.
Yeah, okay. Let's do 4, and you guys have to forgive me because we need to begin reading. Before I meet you guys again on Saturday, you know, we have to do some reading. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's going to be very difficult to work with the man which just began working here. Type of connector is wrong, which
Good.
related
Thank
to
you.
the man. So
Yes.
we need who or that.
Yes,
rather
you know, it's disrespectful to say which, you know, to a man, right? Or to describe a man, huh? This reminds me of some men in our society when they see women or girls, ya binit. All right. It's not nice to say ya binit to a young lady, right? Probably ya ukhti, ya anise. You know, I know we're old, but why not, you know, use these kind and nice and, you know, welcoming terms, right? So yeah, it's not nice to treat people in a way where, you know, you wouldn't be, you know, you wouldn't want to be treated in that way, right? So yeah, we all know that the word which is used for objects, so do not use it when you talk about a man or a woman or anybody. So it is going to be very difficult to work with the man who just began working here. It is going to be very difficult, to work with the man. The man is a noun. It's followed by this. This is a preposition with. So basically, I am describing the noun and that follows the, you know, the preposition. And I'm describing it by using a clause, an adjective clause, okay? But the problem is that I have chosen the wrong connector subject, right? It's a connector, but again, a subject also. So the best one to be used, the man who just began, okay? And notice that with who, you know, here it's followed by a verb, but the verb here is a main verb. Okay, and it's a past, verb, as you can see. Who began, actually in the past, but in the recent past. That's why we say just began. All right. So he did begin. Did begin means began, by the way. Did begin. It means began. Do you have any questions before we go to the reading section? Dr. Ghaith, you have your hand up. We're not going to do more sentences, Dr. Ghaith. You have to forgive me. Okay. We're going to move on to the reading section, but if you have something to say, you are more than welcome to say it. Do you want to say something about anything?
No, دكتورة, no.
يعطيك العافية دكتورة.
يعافيكي. Do you know what? What's so funny is that we don't have the reading section. We should kill Mr. Ibrahim, shouldn't we? What do you think, guys? What kind of, you know, punishment shall we punish him with? Because he did not give us the reading. We don't have the reading. Okay. We don't have the reading. So since we don't have the reading, why not we do what follows the reading? You know what follows the reading? I'm going to tell you what. We want to do one exercise, no matter what, one skill. And the skill that we're going to do is a written expression skill, which is skill, let me see, 20. Did we pass 20? So since we're not going to do reading, it's okay. We can postpone it. You know, we can deal with this, no problem. But we have to do this. I have to introduce the written expression, either reading or written expression, you know, the written expression section. We've been talking about these kinds of exercises, but we never, you know, really delved into them. Let's take a look at the written expression, you know, questions. I'm not going to read this. You know why? Because this is an introduction. I just want you to take a look at the examples, okay? What I'm going to read is when we move on to the skill itself, okay? Let me see. Look at this example. These are early examples. The final delivery of the day is the important test. So I just want to tell you how we deal with these questions is that, you know, you have to look at A, B, C, D. Of course, you have to read the whole sentence, but look at A and tell me, is there a mistake in A? B, the day. Is there a mistake there? Look at C, which is. Or is the mistake here? Where's the mistake? Who knows? Let me see if you still remember things that you have taken and, you know, if you know spoken English well enough to tell me where the problem is. Where's the problem in this sentence, if you know? I know we didn't discuss it. We're going to discuss it. Tell me.
Yes.
Yeah, who has their hand up? I don't see any hands up, by the way.
Importance.
This one, D, important. Yes, there's no such thing as important
Yes,
testimony.
there
إنجليزي ما
superlative
في-
should be
ما في
the
كلمة
most
زي هيك.
important.
Good.
Yeah,
Final
the most
delivery
important.
of the day. The final delivery of the day. شو يعني the final delivery؟ آخر تقديم في اليوم. ما بنعرف شو هو التقديم. هل هو التقديم يعني كلمة أو ناس بدهم يوصلوا شغلة يعني زي شركة توصيل the final delivery of the day يعني آخر توصيلة أو شغلة بدنا نقدمها أو نأديها في اليوم حسب طبعا مين اللي بيحكي بصراحة. is هي the بالإنجليزي ما في إشي زي هيك is the most important. important صفة. الصفات الطويلة باللغة الإنجليزية لما نحط لها طريقة التفضيل أوكي طريقة التفضيل السوبرلاتيف we call it أوكي طبعا رح نناقش هذا الشيء لقدام شوي. بنحط لها مش بس the وmost وما بنضيف هاي الإضافة est. So the final delivery of the day is the most important. هي أهم شيء أو أهم وحدة. All right, is the most important one or just the most important sometimes we say. Okay, فيعني الفكرة من هذا التدريب هون okay just to tell you إنه عشان نتعرف على شو يعني written expressions عبارات مكتوبة بمكان معين في خلل في خطأ وبدنا نحدد وين الخطأ. ما بدي أنا أمشي بهذول أنتوا إلقوا نظرة عليهم بس لأنه later on رح نحكي إحنا عن يعني كل واحدة من هدول على شكل يعني هذا الموضوع له skill. هذا الموضوع اللي هون for example the books that I read هذا الموضوع كمان skill تانية اللي هي إيش توافق ما بين الجمع والفعل يكون جمع كمان أو إنه أعمل subject مفرد حتى هذا يكون مفرد. okay all right so we're going to talk about this yes as a skill. هدول كلهم skills.
We're amazing. We're interesting.
good job. هاي skill لحالها. شايفين هذا الexample 2 عليه skill. خلينا نبدأ ب the first one here. شايفين هاي the first one make verbs agree after prepositional phrases. make verbs agree after prepositional phrases. هذا كأنه هو السكيل الجديد المطلوب حسب الخطة. yes this is it. I'm looking at the syllabus يعني خطة okay and it says that this is the first one in the written expressions that we should be working on. طيب شو معنى هالكلام make verbs agree؟ بدنا نخلي الأفعال في يكون بيناتها توافق اتفاق مش مرة you know past ومرة present all right yeah something like that. Let's see what's going on here. So sometimes prepositional phrases أحيانا العبارات اللي هي إيش اللي بتتبع أو الكلمة اللي بتتبع حرف الجر can come between the subject and the verb. ممكن تيجي بالنص ما بين السبجكت والverb وتخلينا ننسى إنه هاي singular okay هاي بتخرب علينا. to the doors the key to the doors يعني المفتاح للأبواب. تعرفوا في مرات مفتاح واحد ترى بيفتح كل الأبواب. بتسمعوا بهذا الحكي ولا لا؟ yeah so the key to the doors
master
مفتاح
key
الأبواب. yes master
key.
key yes exactly so الظاهر هذا هو اللي يعني this is what they're talking about. so the key to the doors مش نغلط نقول doors هي هون يلا are no بنبهونا هون بهذا السكيل إنه when we have a prepositional phrase يعني لما يكون عندي حرف جر واسم إذا كان جمع مش بركض بحط الفعل هون جمع no برجع للسبجكت okay the key the key شو exactly حتى لو في to the doors مفتاح الأبواب مفتاح واحد I'm talking about one so the key is in the drawer حتى لو ل100 باب okay we're talking about one key so just be careful لأنه sometimes you know even us professors we forget and we make that mistake sometimes because بيعلق بذهننا you know the plural the recent plural بيعلق بذهننا هالاسم الجمع اللي من قبل شوي سمعناه you know and we forget sometimes you know and we might make the mistake of you know people who you know are not even majors in English you know or don't have that English major you know in their lives all the time. طيب خلينا to enlarge this a bit so that it can be easier on you and take a you know a better look. نطلع هيك بشكل أدق أكتر على these sentences okay so sometimes prepositional phrases can come between the subject and the verb زي هيك the prepositional phrase ممكن يجي بين السبجect والverb if the object of the preposition is singular and the subject is plural وخاصة وين الكارثة if the subject is what is plural هون مثلا بقول لك والverb singular all right we might make a mistake like this, okay? Or if the object of the preposition is plural, أو الobject للpreposition ماله is plural زي هون هذا المثال عكسين, I don't know why, and the subject is singular والsubject singular, يعني لما شارحين هاي قبل هاي, I don't know why. There can be confusion in making the subject and the verb agree. أحيانا ممكن يصير في عنا نلخبط يعني, okay, that we think that we have to deal with this ونحط R, okay, أو هون والله singular. No, look at the subject. If the subject is plural, the verb is plural. If the subject is singular, the verb is plural. Don't let the noun of the preposition mess you up. ما تخلوا الاسم اللي بيجي بعد the preposition يلخبطكم, all right? That's what they're saying over here. So in the first example, you might think that doors is the subject because it comes directly in front of the verb are. Okay? ممكن ننتوه نفكر هو نروح عن بال نفكر هو subject, all right? However, doors is not the subject. لكن ما ننسى, the subject is not doors, okay? Because it is the object of the preposition to. هو عبارة عن object, you know that, okay? The subject of the sentence is what? Key. That's the subject. So the verb should be is. In the second example, طبعا بالمثال الثاني العكس عاملين. You might think that the door or that door is the subject. ممكن ننسى نفكر this is the subject and it's not, because it comes directly in front of the verb لأنه محله جاي بالضبط قبل الفعل. So we might, think that. All right. Is you should recognize in this example that door is not the subject because it is the object of the preposition. Door is not the subject. What is it? The object of this preposition to, because the subject of the sentence is keys. High subject keys, right? The verb should be what? Not is, it should be are. So دايما لما تشوفوا star زي هيك معناته في mistake, في مشكلة, في شيء خلل. All right. The following chart outlines the key information that you should understand. هاي chart يعني بتقدم لك an outline زي مخطط يعني للعبارات المفتاحية, شغلات مفتاحية, key يعني مفتاحية, all right, that you should understand about subject and verb. أمور مفتاحية, أمور مهمة لازم إنه نفهمها عن what the subject what الاسم اللي بنبدأ فيه جملتنا الفعل, and verb فاعل عفوا والفعل verb, okay? So when a prepositional phrase, لما يكون في عندي prepositional phrase اللي هي حرف الجر والاسم اللي بيتبعها بسميها prepositional phrase. ليه phrase؟ لأن الphrase بالإنجليزي يعني مجموعة كلمات, يعني أكثر من واحد, هيك المقصود فيه. فلما يكون في عندي preposition واسم بسميه prepositional phrase. Comes between the subject and the verb, بيجي بالنص زي هاي اللي ما احنا شايفينها هون بين subject and verb. Be sure, تأكدي that the verb agrees with the subject. نتأكد إنه هذا الفعل ماله بيعمل agreement, يعني إنه إذا هذا مفرد يكون هو مفرد وإذا جمع يكون جمع. Got it? Okay, do we all agree? So prepositional phrase in the middle, subject on the left, verb on the right, etc. Okay, let's take a look at an exercise or probably two. Okay, here, exercises. What a quick skill. Isn't that quick, wasn't that so quick? I mean, the skill that we just took, it's one that we should just, pay attention to. يعني we know this information. يعني هاي المعلومات مش جديدة علينا. We know that. But our problem is that sometimes we need to, what? Practice more. All right, Dr. Ghaith, you have your hand up. Which one do you want to do for us today?
Number 5.
Go ahead.
The buildings destroyed during the fire are being rebuilt at the taxpayers' expense.
Yes.
The building destroyed during the fire are being rebuilt. I think it's okay. It's correct.
Yeah. At the taxpayers, I think it's fine as well. So the buildings, yes. What about those buildings destroyed during the fire? So we're talking about them are being rebuilt. Okay, and they are being rebuilt at the taxpayers' expense, the expense of the taxpayer. So I think it's fine, no problem. We don't have a problem with we want to make sure that the verbs and the nouns agree, okay? So this, look at the verbs, all of them. Do they agree with the nouns? That's what we want to, the correct nouns or the correct subjects, I mean. So the buildings, that are destroyed during the fire. So look, are. So there's something in the middle. See this middle part? It did not mess up the verb here. So we're fine. The buildings are plural. The verb is also plural. So no problem with that.
Here destroyed is adjective.
Okay, good job. Destroyed means that are destroyed during the fire. Good job. Okay. Do you want to do another sentence before we say goodbye? One more sentence. Who would like to try to do one for us? Anybody's hands up? Anybody? One more last sentence before we say our final goodbye? Nobody? Okay. Dr. Ghaith has his hand up. We're not going to say no to him. Dr. Ghaith, can we ask Dr. Khulud? Can we ask her because she has her hand up? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, of course, of course.
All right, Dr. Khulud, choose one.
I will choose number 8.
Go ahead.
Further development of any new ideas for future products has to be approved in advance. Further development.
Which one are you doing in advance? Which one are you doing?
8.
Oh, 8, because you said 6.
Number 8,
I was looking at that, or yeah.
Number 8. New ideas. It's plural for future product has singular. There is should be a plural verb. Further development of any
development.
Yes.
Of
Development
new
of
ideas
any
for future products has. Is this correct?
Has should be a plural. No, it's not correct.
I think it's
we
correct.
have a plural.
Why? It's correct, Dr. Khulud.
New ideas.
Listen, let me tell you why. Further development.
Yeah.
The subject, okay? We want to look for its verb. Further development. Any new ideas. This is a prepositional phrase. For future products, prepositional phrase. I'm sorry, prepositional phrase. Has is the verb. Has to be. Has. Is this okay? Can we use has with development? Yes or no? Simply.
Yes.
Okay, then why is it wrong? It's correct. You said so. See? All right. So further development يعني المزيد من التطوير of any new ideas. المزيد من التطوير للأفكار الجديدة for future products لها المنتجات الجديدة المستقبلية has to be approved. دايما لازم يصير في عليها موافقة. وسهل الواحد يلا يقر منتج جديد حيلا. No. It has to be approved. in advance. لازم يكون في approval. لازم يكون في موافقة. مثلا ممكن شركة معينة الحكومة معطيتها صلاحية تعمل فحص و approval يعني acceptance يعني قبول لهالمنتج إنه
موافقة
عليه. Nothing's wrong because development is what? Singular. بنعاملها معاملة المفرد و has is singular. الأمور تمام ويا عيني. So we want to stop here today, guys. I enjoyed, discussing these skills with you today. It was a long day for all of us, I am sure, right? And inshallah, I will see you guys on Saturday, and you have a quiz. So tomorrow I will prepare the quiz for you at Yarmouk while I am there, so that on Saturday it is ready for you guys to work on, okay? It's not something to scare you. I just want to give you an example on each skill that you have taken so that you can, because when you're a student, you study. Okay, so try to live the situation, let me say the conditions of a student, all right? Study the skills so that, you feel proud, about yourself, inshallah, and you will be all, anyway, proud about yourself, okay? So you have a great evening. And before I leave you, if you have any question, you are more than welcome to ask any
يعطيك العافية دكتورة.
دكتورة لو سمحتي.
Yes, please go ahead.
دكتورة أنا ما بطل يوصلني على الإيميل رابط المحاضرة ولا حتى recorded.
It's the same. الرابط ما تغير. It did not change.
It's
the same. I'm not changing it, okay?
Okay.
The same. Okay? And maybe on Saturday, if you guys have other issues besides this, I can listen to them. But if about the YouTube video, I posted one The second one, I didn't because the internet was very slow. It's here on my desktop, I mean, but inshallah tomorrow while I'm at Yarmouk, I'm going to, make use of their internets, okay? Because it's faster.
تمام دكتورة يعطيك
Okay,
العافية.
and then I will post for all of you, inshallah. Post today's, video, and inshallah yesterday's. And I think that's it. Do you have any other question besides that? Everything's fine.
No, دكتور. يعطيك العافية.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Greetings to your family members. Inshallah, I will be seeing you on Saturday, and all the best. Goodbye.
Goodbye.